The wedding night should have been perfect. The mansion glowed under soft golden lights, the scent of fresh roses drifting through every hallway. The young groom, Jordan, handsome and full of hope, held his new bride's hands tightly as they stepped into the honeymoon suite. But everything shattered the moment the billionaire boss lady, Mrs. Veronica Hale, gently reached for the edge of her perfectly contoured face. Jordan watched with anticipation, expecting a playful reveal, maybe a romantic tease. Instead, what he saw made the blood drain from his face. Veronica peeled away the layers of flawless makeup, one stroke at a time. The smooth, glowing skin disappeared. The youthful charm vanished. And then came the truth: deep wrinkles, sunken cheeks, tired eyes of a woman far beyond the age she presented. A face worn by loneliness, grief, and time. Jordan stumbled back, gripping the wall as if reality itself shook beneath his feet. This can't be real," he whispered under his breath. "Before we continue, if you believe our stories deserve to be heard, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves meaningful African tales. Let's keep our stories alive together." Veronica's smile wavered, exhausted. "This is who I am. This is who I've always been." Jordan felt his heart hammering against his chest. His mind raced with images of their whirlwind romance, how she'd swept him off his feet with elegance, wealth, and power, how she never once let him see her bare face, how she always insisted on dim lights, how she always wore heavy glam makeup even for simple dinners. Now he understood why. But Veronica wasn't shocked by his reaction. She'd feared this moment more than anything. It was why she had lived in emotional isolation since her husband's tragic death only 3 months after their wedding 7 years ago. A lifetime of loneliness, hidden behind foundation and powder. Jordan's knees felt weak. Veronica stepped closer, reaching for his hand, but he pulled away with a trembling gasp. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, voice breaking. Her eyes softened with heartbreak. "Because no man has ever looked at me twice after seeing the real me. They all wanted the billionaire widow, not the aging woman beneath the makeup." Jordan's jaw clenched. The air between them felt tight, suffocating. Veronica's confidence, the aura she carried everywhere she went, faded now into a fragile, trembling vulnerability. He had fallen in love with a fantasy. Now the truth stood inches away from him. Veronica took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "Jordan, if you leave now, I won't blame you. But everything I gave you, everything I shared with you, it was real. My feelings were real." But the pain on Jordan's face deepened. A storm was building inside him: shock, betrayal, confusion. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could utter a single word, the power in the mansion flickered. The lights dimmed. The room turned cold. A loud bang echoed from downstairs. Jordan and Veronica both froze. It didn't sound like something falling. It sounded like someone breaking in. Jordan turned toward the door. Veronica grabbed his wrist. "Don't go out there," she whispered, fear trembling in her voice. Jordan swallowed hard. Someone in the house. And just as they stood in complete silence, they heard footsteps, heavy, slow, deliberate, echoing through the hallway, coming closer and closer to the suite. Veronica's breath caught in her throat. Not again. Not tonight. Jordan's pulse hammered in his ears. "Who would break in tonight of all nights?" he whispered. Veronica didn't answer. She couldn't, because only she knew the truth. She hadn't told Jordan everything about her late husband's death. She hadn't told him the real reason she lived locked up in fear and makeup. She hadn't told him why her mansion had alarms no one understood. And now, as the footsteps crept closer, Jordan realized her secrets didn't end with her face. Suddenly the doorknob rattled violently. Jordan jumped. Veronica's hand flew to her chest. Someone was trying to force the door open. Jordan reached for the edge of the vanity table, gripping a metal candle stand as a weapon. Veronica pressed herself against the wall, her breath shaking. The door shook again, this time harder, louder. "Who's there?" Jordan yelled, though his voice cracked. Silence followed. A long, chilling silence. Then slowly, painfully slowly, the doorknob turned again, this time without force, as if whoever stood behind the door wanted to send a message. They weren't in a hurry. They weren't afraid. They were coming inside, no matter what. Jordan raised the candle stand. Veronica's knees buckled slightly as she stared, wide-eyed. The knob turned more, more, until it stopped. The footsteps retreated. Jordan and Veronica stood frozen, listening as the intruder walked back down the stairs, each step echoing like thunder. Then nothing. Pure silence swallowed the house. Jordan exhaled shakily. "We need to call the police." But Veronica didn't move. She stared at the door with an expression Jordan hadn't seen before. Not fear, not shock. Recognition. Jordan noticed. "Veronica, do you know who that was?" Her lips parted, but before she could speak, her phone vibrated loudly on the table. A message notification lit up the screen. Jordan leaned closer to read it. Veronica grabbed it too quickly. But he caught a glimpse. Just one line. 7 chilling words that turned Jordan's blood to ice. "I warned you not to marry again." Jordan staggered backward. Veronica, who sent that? Her hands trembled. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "My husband." Jordan stared at her horrified. "But your husband is dead." Veronica slowly lifted her eyes to meet his. "Not everything that dies stays buried." Jordan felt the room spin. Because suddenly, it wasn't her face beneath the makeup that terrified him the most. It was the life he just married into. And then, as they stood in stunned silence, the lights flickered one more time and went completely out. Everything disappeared into darkness. A cold whisper drifted through the hallway. And Jordan realized they were no longer alone in the mansion. Darkness swallowed the entire mansion. The sudden blackout left Jordan and Veronica standing in complete silence, listening for the slightest movement. Jordan could hear his heartbeat thundering in his ears, while Veronica's breath trembled in the cold air. Jordan's fingers tightened around the candle stand he held as a weapon. "This house is supposed to have backup generators," he whispered. "It does," Veronica replied slowly. "Then why aren't they on?" Veronica hesitated. She didn't want to say it out loud, but Jordan's fear demanded the truth. "The only time the generators ever failed was the night my husband died." Jordan swallowed hard. "Veronica, you need to tell me what's going on, right now." Before she could answer, a faint glow gently illuminated the hallway outside. Not the lights, something else. A soft, eerie blue shimmer that moved like a shadow with a pulse. Veronica's eyes widened. Jordan took a cautious step back. "What is that?" he whispered. Veronica shook her head. It wasn't like this before. The blue glow hovered closer to their bedroom door and then, just as suddenly as it appeared, disappeared into the darkness, leaving the hallway empty again. Jordan ran to the window and yanked the curtains open. The outside lights in the compound were still intact, glowing bright and steady. Only the mansion itself sat in complete darkness. "This is not normal," Jordan said. Veronica's hands shook. "Jordan, my late husband didn't just die, he—" A loud crash echoed from downstairs. Jordan jumped. "That came from the kitchen." Veronica grabbed his arm. "Please don't go down there." But Jordan looked at her, really looked at her, and saw how terrified she was. It wasn't just shock from the makeup reveal. Something deeper had been haunting her long before tonight. He pulled his arm away gently. "I need to see who's in this house." He reached for his phone, turning on the flashlight. Together they crept out of the room and into the hallway. The wooden floor groaned beneath their feet. The silence felt heavy, like the house itself was holding its breath. Jordan led the way, crouched low, weapon in hand. Veronica stayed close behind, gripping the wall and praying silently. As they reached the staircase, Jordan paused. Shards of glass glittered on the floor below. Someone had smashed the framed wedding photos of Veronica and her late husband. Most were shattered, but one photo remained untouched. The photo taken the day before her husband died. Jordan approached it slowly. Why did they break only these ones? Veronica's voice barely rose above a whisper. He hated that picture. Jordan's eyebrows shot upward. Who hated it? My husband. Jordan stared at her. Veronica, none of this makes sense. He's dead. Veronica looked away. Jordan, I never saw his body. Jordan froze. What? She nodded. When the police arrived after the accident, they told me his body had burned beyond recognition. They said it was better I didn't see it. Jordan felt sweat trickle down his back. Veronica, what if the person in that car wasn't your husband? Her breath hitched. Before either of them could process the horrifying possibility, the sound of slow, rhythmic footsteps echoed from the far end of the hall. Jordan spun around, flashlight held high. Nothing. Then the footsteps came again, this time from behind them. Jordan whipped the light around. Still nothing. I don't like this, he muttered. Veronica clutched his arm. Let's go to the living room, that's where the CCTV monitor is. Together they hurried toward the main living area, stepping over broken glass and toppled decor. The air grew colder the farther they walked. Jordan felt a strange pressure settling around his chest. Finally, they reached the living room. Veronica switched on the CCTV monitor. Surprisingly, the screens were still on, running on a separate backup source. The cameras flickered. Static. Then stabilized. Jordan leaned closer. Veronica, look. Camera 4 showed a figure standing outside the mansion gate. A man. Tall. Still. Facing the house. Just standing there. Not moving. Not blinking. Just staring. Veronica's hand flew to her mouth. Jordan, that's the same shape as. Don't say it, Jordan whispered. Camera 6 flickered next. The figure was no longer at the gate. He was now at the front door. Just standing there. The doorbell chimed through the silent house, soft, slow, deliberate. Jordan stepped back. He moved from the gate to the door in less than a second. That's impossible. The doorbell rang again. Veronica's legs nearly gave out beneath her. Jordan, we need to leave the house. Now. But as Jordan reached for her hand to pull her toward the back exit, something else happened. Camera 3 switched on automatically. The screen showed a close-up of Veronica's face. Not her current face. Not the face behind the makeup. But her old wedding face. The youthful version she wore the day she married her late husband. Her glowing smile. Her soft eyes. Her perfect skin. And beneath the image, a message blinked across the screen in blood-red text. Return what you stole. Jordan's blood ran cold. What does that mean? Veronica didn't answer. Her breathing quickened. Panic rose in her chest. Veronica, what did you steal? Tears welled in her eyes. Her voice cracked as she said, I didn't steal anything, I swear. I loved my husband. I married him for love, not money, but he never believed me. Jordan stepped closer. Tell me everything, Veronica, all of it. She opened her mouth to speak, but a deafening crash erupted from the front door. The intruder had kicked it open. Jordan instinctively grabbed Veronica and pulled her behind the couch. Slow footsteps entered the house. Heavy, slow, menacing. And this time, Jordan realized something chilling. The footsteps did not sound like they belonged to someone alive. The air temperature plunged again. The lights on the CCTV screens flickered violently. The figure walked into the living room. A shadow stretched across the floor. Tall, broad, unmistakable. Veronica gasped softly. Jordan tightened his grip on her wrist. The shadow stopped right in front of the couch where they hid. The entire house fell silent. Then the figure spoke. Veronica. Her heart stopped. She knew that voice. She had heard it every night in her dreams. Jordan felt her hand tremble violently. The figure leaned closer, voice dropping into a whisper. Did you really think you could replace me? The voice drifted through the darkness like a cold wind, heavy and unmistakably familiar to Veronica. Jordan tightened his grip on the candle stand, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Veronica's nails dug into his wrist as she trembled behind him. The shadow stood inches from the couch. Jordan slowly raised the flashlight, angling it toward the figure. The beam flickered, then steadied, revealing nothing. No feet. No legs. Just a tall silhouette with no solid form. Jordan froze. What is that? But before Veronica could answer, the shadow dissolved like smoke and drifted deeper into the living room. The cold air followed it. Jordan rose slowly, pulling Veronica with him. We need to get out of this house, he whispered. Veronica nodded, her lips trembling. The back exit leads to the garage, if we can reach it. A loud, metallic slam erupted from the garage door. Jordan flinched. He's blocking every exit. Veronica's eyes filled with tears. Jordan, this didn't happen until you arrived. I've lived alone for years. He never appeared like this. Jordan swallowed, trying to steady himself. Maybe he's not after me. Maybe he's after you, or the wedding. Veronica's breath hitched. He always said I belonged to him forever. Jordan wiped sweat from his brow. Veronica, you said he never believed you loved him. Why? Her eyes softened with sadness. He thought every woman wanted his wealth. He was paranoid, controlling. He hid it well at first. When we married, everything changed. Jordan listened carefully as the house creaked around them. He started accusing me of stealing from him, she continued. His bank cards, property papers, anything missing, even things he misplaced, he blamed me. Jordan frowned. But why? You were wealthy before you met him. That's what made it worse, she whispered. He thought the only reason a rich woman would marry him was to become richer. He never realized I just loved him, truly. Jordan softened. So what happened the night he died? Tears filled her eyes. I don't know. He was returning from a business trip. His car exploded in the middle of the road. The police said it was a fuel tank issue, but now I don't know what to believe. Jordan absorbed this, trying to piece the puzzle together. What if he didn't die in that car? Or what if someone made it look like he died? Veronica looked at him with fear and dread. Jordan, do you think he's alive? Before Jordan could answer, the TV in the living room turned on by itself. A static-filled screen glowed brightly, casting eerie shadows across the room. Slowly, the static cleared and an old video began to play. It was Veronica and her late husband on their wedding day. They were standing at the altar, smiling at each other. But something was wrong. The groom wasn't smiling warmly. His eyes, even on the old footage, looked cold, possessive, almost predatory. Jordan grabbed the remote and tried to turn it off. The TV refused. Instead, the groom on screen slowly turned his head, unnaturally, almost inhumanly, until he stared directly at the camera, directly into the present. Veronica's knees gave out. Jordan caught her just before she collapsed. The screen glitched again. Static. Then an audio recording played. His voice. I told you, Veronica, no man replaces me. Jordan's entire body tensed. This isn't normal. This isn't natural. Someone is playing with us. He reached for the remote again, but the TV exploded with static and smoke. Jordan yanked Veronica away as sparks shot across the floor. "We're leaving now," he said firmly. They raced toward the hallway, but halfway through, they stopped abruptly. All the family portraits on the wall had changed. Every single one. Where her late husband once stood beside her in elegant wedding photos, there was now a younger Veronica, but her face was scratched out in every picture. Deep, angry knife marks slashed across her eyes, mouth, and cheeks. Jordan felt chills ripple down his spine. "Veronica, someone has been in your house long before tonight." Veronica clutched her stomach. Why would he do this to me? Jordan gently guided her forward. "We can't stay here. We need to get outside and call the police." Just then, the mansion door slammed shut with a force that made the walls tremble. A deep voice echoed from the darkness, trailing through the hallway like a whisper woven with malice. "You promised me forever, Veronica." Jordan clenched his teeth. "Show yourself." The voice laughed, soft, slow, mocking. "You're not worthy of her." Jordan stiffened. The voice grew louder, closer. "She is mine. She will always be mine." Jordan stepped in front of Veronica, shielding her. "You don't get to choose that." The laughter stopped. The air became still, suffocating. Then the voice whispered, "You want her youth, her beauty, her wealth. You are just like the others." Jordan's jaw tightened. "You don't know anything about me." "I know enough." Veronica clung to Jordan's arm. "Please stop talking to him. He's not human. He doesn't think normally." Jordan looked her in the eyes. "He's trying to make you doubt me." She shook her head. "I don't doubt you, Jordan. I don't want to doubt you." He touched her cheek gently. "Then trust me, we'll get out of this." But before they could take another step, all the doors in the hallway slammed open at once. Wind swept through the corridor, cold and violent. Veronica screamed. Jordan grabbed her and pulled her close. Shadows began forming along the walls, rising like dark figures slipping from another world. They drifted forward, surrounding the couple in slow circles. Jordan looked up, heart pounding. "We're surrounded." The shadows tightened the circle. The temperature dropped until Jordan could see their breath. Then the hallway lights flickered on violently, revealing a man standing at the end of the corridor. Tall, broad shoulders, dressed in a black suit, face hidden in the shadows, but unmistakably human. Veronica's voice cracked with fear. "No, no, it can't be." Jordan whispered, "Is that him?" The man stepped forward. Light fell across his face. Jordan's breath caught. The resemblance to Veronica's late husband was undeniable. But something was wrong. The man looked younger, stronger. His face wasn't burned. His skin was unscarred. His expression was calm, but his eyes carried the same coldness Veronica remembered. And he was alive. He stopped a few feet away, staring at Veronica with an eerie calm. "You were married," he said softly. Veronica staggered backward. You're alive." He tilted his head. "Did you think death could keep me from you?" Jordan stepped protectively in front of her. "Stay back." The man looked at him with cold amusement. "And you must be the boy pretending to take my place." Jordan tightened his grip on the candle stand. Veronica felt faint. Why did you fake your death?" she whispered. The man smiled. A smile that carried madness. "Because I wanted to see," he said slowly, "how long it would take before you betrayed me." Jordan's stomach twisted. Veronica's tears fell. "I never betrayed you. I mourned you. I loved you. You loved my wealth, my youth, my power." "That's not true." He stepped closer. "Then why did you marry him?" Jordan pulled her behind him. "You don't get to decide her life." The man's eyes darkened. "I get to decide everything." He reached into his suit pocket. Jordan braced himself. But the man pulled out something unexpected. A gold wedding ring. Veronica's old ring. He tossed it toward her feet. "Pick it up," he said calmly. "The marriage was never over." Jordan's heart dropped. Veronica trembled violently. The man's voice deepened. "You belong to me." Jordan stepped away from the wall, raising the candle stand. "You'll have to go through me first." The man smiled faintly, as if he had been waiting to hear those words. And with a voice cold enough to freeze blood, he whispered, "I intend to." Jordan's grip tightened on the metal candle stand, muscles coiled, breath sharp and controlled. Veronica clung to the back of his shirt, her legs trembling violently beneath her. The man standing before them, alive, calm and disturbingly composed, tilted his head as if amused by their terror. "I don't want to hurt you," the man said softly, "but I will if I must." Jordan stepped forward. "Then you're going to have to." The lights overhead flickered wildly, casting jagged shadows across the hallway. The air felt heavy, almost too thick to breathe. Veronica's heart thudded painfully in her chest. The man smirked. "You think you can fight me? You have no idea who I am." Jordan steadied himself. "You're her ex-husband and a coward." Something cold and violent flashed across the man's eyes. He lunged. Jordan swung the metal stand with all his strength. It connected with a sharp clang against the man's arm, yet the man barely flinched, only stepping back a fraction. Jordan staggered, shocked by the man's strength. The man's voice dropped lower, darker. "I didn't come here to fight you. I came to reclaim what's mine." Veronica shook her head violently. "I'm not yours, not anymore." The man's gaze hardened. "You married him in less than a year after my death. Tell me, Veronica, how long were you waiting? How soon were you planning to replace me?" She backed away, tears spilling. "You don't understand. I mourned you. You left me broken. You left me alone." He stepped closer. "And now you're no longer alone. Isn't that convenient?" Jordan stepped in front of her again. "Back off." The man paused, studying Jordan, not with anger, something worse, curiosity. "You love her," he said. Jordan didn't hesitate. "Yes, I do." A chilling smile spread across the man's face. "That's your mistake." The lights violently flickered again. The shadowy figures that had surrounded them earlier slithered forward, materializing along the walls, lingering like silent threats. Veronica felt her vision blur, panic surging through her. "Jordan, I can't do this. I can't face him." Jordan touched her arm quickly. "You're not alone. I'm here." The man's eyes narrowed. "You think love protects her?" "Yes," Jordan snapped. "It does." The man moved with terrifying calmness toward Veronica. Jordan blocked him again. "Move," the man ordered. "No." The man sighed, as if disappointed by Jordan's stubbornness. "You're standing between a husband and his wife." Jordan clenched his jaw. "You died, she buried you. That marriage ended." The man's expression darkened instantly. "A union sealed in vows cannot be undone by death." Jordan stared at him, horrified. "You're insane." "Perhaps," the man murmured, "but I am still her husband." Veronica let out a shaky cry. "Stop it. You abandoned me. You left me drowning in grief for years." Her voice rose with a strength Jordan had never heard. "And you snarled at me even in death. You didn't let me move on. You didn't let me breathe." The man's expression flickered, for the first time showing something: hurt, rage, madness. It was impossible to tell. "You think I abandoned you?" he asked quietly. "You think I chose to leave?" Veronica faltered. "What do you mean?" The man took a slow step forward. The hallway chilled. "My death was not an accident." Jordan stiffened. "What are you saying?" "I was attacked the night I died. Someone sabotaged my car. Someone who wanted me gone. Someone who wanted my wife, my wealth, my life." Jordan's heart pounded. "Who?" The man's eyes drifted slowly to Veronica. pain and accusation twisted together in his stare. Veronica took a step back, horrified. "No, no, I didn't. I trusted you," he said sharply. "And the next morning you moved money, closed accounts, transferred assets." Veronica's mouth fell open. "Because the bank told me they were being hacked. Because your accountant asked me to approve emergency measures." Jordan's eyes widened. Someone set her up. The man's jaw twitched slightly. Jordan continued, growing more certain. "You weren't killed by her. You were manipulated." The man looked at Jordan with unsettling steadiness. "So you believe her?" "Yes," Jordan said, "because I know her and she's not a liar." Veronica's knees buckled. Jordan guided her gently to the wall. The man studied them both. His jaw clenched, his hands tightened into fists. "She isn't as innocent as you think," he said. "You're wrong," Jordan replied firmly. The man turned fully toward Jordan. "If you are so certain, tell me, why did she hide her face from you? Why did she deceive you with makeup? Why did she pretend to be younger than she is?" Jordan swallowed but stood his ground. "Because she was scared you returned to haunt her life. Because she never healed, because she was lonely." Veronica's tears fell silently. Jordan stepped closer to the man. "She didn't deceive me, she protected herself, and I love her, makeup or not." The man's expression shifted. Something raw, broken, flickered briefly, like an old wound reopening. "For years," he said quietly, "I thought the only thing I had left was the bitterness of betrayal." He looked at Veronica, and for the first time his voice softened. "I loved you, Veronica, I truly did, but I never knew how to trust you, and I feared losing you so much that I became the man you feared." Veronica's hand flew to her mouth. Jordan whispered, "You're not a ghost, you're a broken man." The man blinked, stunned. Jordan continued, "Someone wanted you dead, but you survived, and instead of seeking the truth, you came here to destroy the one woman who mourned you hardest." Silence fell. The man's shoulders trembled. Jordan stepped closer. "If you ever loved her, let her go. Stop this." The man looked at Veronica long and hard, years of pain wrapped in one stare. Then he turned away slightly, breathing shakily. Suddenly, something shifted in the house. A door creaked open down the hall. The man's eyes snapped toward the sound, alert, frightened. Jordan frowned. "What was that?" The man whispered, "The one who tried to kill me." He swallowed. "He followed me here." Jordan felt a chill race down his spine. "Someone else is inside this house." Veronica gasped. The man nodded slowly. "He's been here all along, watching us, waiting." Jordan stepped back, weapon raised. "Who is he?" The man stared into the darkness, voice trembling for the first time. "My brother." If this story is already touching your heart, please take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to Black Race Tales, and turn on notifications. Your support helps us keep telling these powerful African and Black community stories to the world. Silence gripped the mansion the moment the man revealed the truth. His voice trembled, his breath unsteady, his eyes fixed on the darkness at the far end of the hallway. Jordan tightened his grip on the candle stand. Veronica staggered backward until her shoulders hit the wall. "You're your brother," she whispered, barely able to form the words. The man nodded slowly, as if each movement carried the weight of a buried secret. "He's here. He's been here since before you arrived, and he will not stop until all of us are gone." Jordan scanned the hallway. "Where is he now?" The man tilted his head, listening. "He moves like a ghost, but he isn't one." Suddenly, a soft footstep echoed from the darkness. Then another. But these footsteps were different, lighter, quicker, almost playful. Jordan raised the flashlight. "Show yourself." The shadows shifted. A tall figure stepped quietly into the faint light. He wore a dark jacket, torn at the edges, face partially hidden beneath a hood. But even from a distance, his resemblance to Veronica's late husband was unmistakable. Same height, same bone structure, same unsettling stillness. The man's eyes glowed with something between madness and delight. "Well," he said with a low chuckle, "look at the happy reunion." Veronica's trembling worsened. Why did you do it? Why did you try to kill your own brother?" The hooded man's smile widened. "Because the wrong Hale got all the fortune, all the businesses, all the attention, all the love." Jordan stepped protectively in front of her. "You sabotaged his car." The hooded man chuckled, shrugging casually. "I did more than that. I made sure he couldn't crawl out on his own." The living brother clenched his fists. "You left me to die." "Oh, come on," the hooded man replied, waving a hand dismissively. "You survived, that's your problem. You always survive." He took a slow, taunting step forward. "You had the wealth, the wife, the perfect life. While I lived in your shadow, our father gave you everything. I decided to take something back." Veronica shook her head, tears flowing. "You killed him because of envy." The hooded man's laughter echoed down the hall. "It's not called envy when you fix a family mistake." Jordan's eyes narrowed. "And now you're here for her." The hooded man stopped walking. His smile faded into something colder. "I'm not here for her," he said softly. "I'm here for both of you." His eyes shifted sharply to his brother. "I couldn't finish the job the first time. But now that you've exposed yourself and shown your face like a fool," he spread his arms slowly, "I get to clean up properly." The living brother stepped forward, fury burning in his eyes. "I should have known you. Follow me here." Jordan intervened instantly. "Wait, all of you need to stop." But the hooded man ignored him. "You think you're smart," the hooded man sneered. "Hiding, letting the world think you died. I even left little gifts for your wife to think you were haunting her. You should have stayed buried." He leaned slightly to the side, eyes narrowing at Veronica. "And you, how convenient that you remarried, faster than I expected." Veronica's voice cracked. "I didn't know he was alive." The hooded man tilted his head mockingly. "Oh, I know, but the timing was beautiful, almost like you wanted to move on. I bet that kept my dear brother awake at night." The living brother flinched. Jordan caught it, realizing how deeply those words cut him. "Enough," Jordan said sharply. "You're both blaming the wrong person." The hooded man scoffed. "And who are you again? A child playing husband to a woman twice your age." Jordan stepped forward without hesitation. "I'm the man who's going to protect her." A flicker of anger crossed the hooded man's face. He lunged. Jordan swung the candle stand, but the hooded man dodged effortlessly. He moved unnervingly fast. Before Jordan could regain balance, the hooded man grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Veronica screamed. The living brother shouted, "Let him go." But the hooded man kept his grip tight. "You think you're brave," he whispered into Jordan's face, breath cold. "You think love is enough. She had a husband already, a rich one, powerful, younger." Jordan struggled. "I don't care about any of that." The hooded man smirked, "But she did." Veronica shook her head fiercely. "No, I didn't." "You hid your face," the hooded man said darkly. "You lied about your age, you covered your wrinkles, you tricked him." Jordan punched him across the jaw, catching him by surprise. The hooded man stumbled backward. Jordan pulled Veronica behind him again. "You're wrong," Jordan said through clenched teeth. "She didn't trick me. She protected herself. You and your brother broke her long before I came into her life." The hooded man's smile vanished completely. The living brother stepped between them now, facing his hooded sibling. "This ends tonight." The hooded man's eyes narrowed. "Then come fight me." The brothers charged at each other. The impact shook the hallway. Furniture toppled. Picture frames shattered. Jordan grabbed Veronica and dragged her into the living room to shield her from flying debris. The fight was brutal, raw, fueled by years of rivalry and buried anger. The hooded man struck with precision, years of hatred powering every blow. But the living brother fought back with something stronger, rage mixed with regret. He pinned the hooded man to the ground, but the hooded man kicked him off with vicious force and hurled him against a wall. Veronica cried out as the impact echoed. Jordan didn't hesitate. He rushed toward the fallen brother, ready to help, but the hooded man grabbed a broken glass shard from the floor and pointed it at Veronica. Jordan froze. "Don't take another step," the hooded man warned. Veronica gasped, stepping back instinctively. The hooded man's grin widened. "Let's make this simple. She comes with me, or all three of you end the night together." Jordan raised his hands, desperate. "What do you want from her?" The hooded man's smile dropped, replaced by something cold, bitter, hateful. "I want to destroy everything he ever loved." The living brother slowly staggered to his feet. His lip was bleeding, his knuckles bruised, but his eyes burned with a dangerous intensity. "Stay away from her," he growled. The hooded man pressed the glass closer to Veronica's cheek. "Make me," he whispered. The living brother moved suddenly, too fast for Jordan to process. But the hooded man was faster. He grabbed Veronica by the arm, yanked her toward him, and whispered into her ear with chilling calm. "It's time you learn the truth about your husband's death." He dragged her backward toward the dark hallway. Jordan lunged, but the living brother held him back. "Stop, you'll get her killed." Jordan cried out in desperation, "He's taking her." The hooded man disappeared into the darkness with Veronica. And the living brother whispered the words that froze Jordan's blood. "He wants her to see something, something he hid from both of us." Jordan stared at him, terrified. What did he hide? The living brother swallowed hard. "The real reason he tried to kill me." Jordan's voice cracked. "What was it?" The living brother closed his eyes painfully. "He wasn't after my money or my life." He opened his eyes again. "He was after my wife." Jordan felt his stomach twist as the living brother's words sank in. The hallway where the hooded man had dragged Veronica was now pitch dark, swallowing every sound. The air felt heavier, colder, as if the mansion itself was bracing for something deadly. Jordan grabbed the man by the collar. "What do you mean he was after your wife?" The living brother didn't push Jordan away. Instead, he looked devastated, broken in a way Jordan hadn't expected. "You don't understand. My brother, he always wanted what I had, everything, even before our father's wealth, even before the company." Jordan stared at him. "What are you saying?" The man rubbed the bridge of his nose with trembling fingers. "He wanted Veronica long before she and I ever married." Jordan's breath caught. "He what?" "He was obsessed with her," the brother whispered. "Watched her from afar, followed her online. I didn't know until after we were married. He tried to hide it, but jealousy makes people sloppy." Jordan's chest tightened. So Veronica was never the target of his anger, she was the prize. The brother nodded. "He didn't try to kill me just for money. He tried to erase me because he believed Veronica should have been his." Jordan stepped back horrified, and now he's taken her again. A distant crash echoed through the mansion, a door slamming, a scream muffled by walls. "Veronica!" Jordan broke into a sprint. The living brother grabbed his arm tightly. "Jordan, wait." Jordan yanked his arm free. "I'm not leaving her alone with him." The brother's face hardened. "Neither am I, but you need to know what you're walking into." Jordan paused unwillingly. "Then talk fast." The brother inhaled shakily. "The night of the car explosion, I received a message, anonymous. It said I'm taking what should have been mine, but I never understood it until now." Jordan clenched his fists. The brother continued. "My brother always had a talent for twisting the truth, making people believe what he wanted them to believe. When he realized Veronica loved me, he snapped. Jordan nodded slowly. And now he's trying to rewrite history, to force her into his version of it. The brother met Jordan's eyes. We need to stop him, but we need to be smart. He's dangerous, and he knows this mansion better than anyone. Another scream cut through the hallway, Veronica's voice, terrified, pleading. Jordan bolted again, and this time the brother didn't stop him. They ran through the dim corridor, past slashed photographs and shattered vases, the house trembling with tension. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, as if the mansion itself was suffocating. Near the basement stairway, Veronica's voice echoed again, weak, trembling, desperate. Jordan shouted, "Veronica, hold on." But as they reached the top of the stairs, a figure stepped into the doorway below. The hooded brother. He held Veronica's arm tightly, but she wasn't unconscious. She was shaking violently, staring at something behind him. The hooded man smiled when he saw them. "Ah, you came quicker than I thought." Jordan stepped forward, fury boiling. "Let her go." The hooded man ignored the demand. His voice grew softer, taunting. "You know, brother, I always wondered what she saw in you. You were the quiet one, the gentle one, the weak one." The living brother's jaw clenched, "And yet she chose me." The hooded man's eyes darkened. "Wrong, she settled for you." Veronica cried out, pulling her arm away. "Stop lying, I didn't even know you existed." The hooded man's expression twisted. "Exactly, that was the problem." He yanked her back by the wrist. Jordan started down the stairs, but the hooded man pulled out a small device and pointed it toward the wires behind the furnace. "A detonator." Jordan froze mid-step. The living brother's voice dropped into a deadly whisper. "You planted explosives again." The hooded man shrugged casually. "A man needs insurance when dealing with sentimental fools." Jordan forced his voice to stay steady. "What do you want?" The hooded man smirked. "A choice." He pointed to Veronica. "She comes with me." Then he pointed the detonator upward, toward the steps. "Or everyone dies together, simple." Jordan's pulse pounded wildly. "Hale," Veronica whispered shakily to her husband, "don't let him do this." The hooded man laughed. "Hale, that name sounds strange now, doesn't it? So undeserved on the wrong brother." The living brother stepped forward, hands raised. "Listen to me, you don't need to do this. You're not thinking clearly." "Oh, I'm thinking perfectly," the hooded man hissed. "She loved you, she pitied you, she stayed with you, all while I watched from the outside. I was the smarter one, the stronger one, yet everything I deserved went to you." "You deserved nothing," the living brother said quietly. "Not her, not the company, not the legacy." The hooded man's eyes twitched. "Shut up." "You were dangerous," the brother continued. "Everyone knew it. Father chose me as CEO because you cared more about destroying than building." "Shut up," the hooded man screamed, voice cracking. "Veronica saw me," the brother said. "Not you, she loved me, not you." The hooded man's face contorted with rage. He clicked the detonator. A spark ignited the basement wires. Jordan lunged forward, but at that exact moment, Veronica twisted violently out of the hooded man's grip. She pushed him backward with all her strength, just as the wiring erupted in a violent flash. A blast of heat shot through the basement, lighting the room with fiery light. The hooded man stumbled, losing hold of the detonator, which clattered across the floor. The explosion wasn't big, just enough to destroy the wiring, but it sent smoke billowing toward the staircase. Jordan grabbed Veronica's arm, dragging her up. "Come on." The hooded man rose, coughing, eyes burning with murderous rage. "I'm not done." The living brother rushed down the stairs, tackling him before he could reach Veronica again. They crashed into the furnace, struggling violently. Jordan pulled Veronica up the staircase, coughing through the smoke. "Keep moving." The basement shook. Objects fell from shelves, pipes hissed. Behind them, the brothers fought brutally. Punches, chokes, desperate blows fueled by years of hatred. But for the first time, the living brother fought not for himself, but for Veronica. Jordan and Veronica reached the top of the stairs and collapsed into the hallway, choking on smoke. Below them, the hooded man screamed, "This isn't over. I'll never let her go." The living brother shouted back, "Then you'll have to kill me." A final crash echoed. And then silence. Jordan and Veronica remained frozen at the top of the stairs, staring into the smoky darkness below. The quiet was suffocating. Jordan whispered, Did he do it? Did he stop him?" Veronica trembled violently, eyes fixed on the basement. "I don't know." Smoke drifted upward. No footsteps. No voice. No movement. Then, a hand appeared on the staircase railing. Jordan pulled Veronica back instinctively. A figure emerged slowly from the smoke. But it wasn't clear who. Whether it was the living brother, or the hooded one. Whether it was the protector, or the predator. Veronica gasped. Jordan raised the candle stand. The figure took another step, and finally came into full view. Smoke curled up the basement staircase as the figure slowly emerged, each step heavy, dragging, almost uncertain. Jordan tightened his grip on the candle stand while Veronica held onto his arm, her voice trembling with fear. The figure coughed once, stumbling into clearer light. It was the living brother. His face was bruised and smeared with soot, his breathing ragged, but he was alive. Veronica rushed to him immediately, tears streaking her cheeks. "You're alive," she cried. He nodded weakly. He's down there, he's not moving." Jordan looked toward the smoking stairway. "Is he dead?" The brother shook his head slowly. "I don't know. The blast didn't kill him, but the fall, he hit the metal furnace hard. I couldn't reach him after. The smoke was too thick." Veronica wiped her tears shakily. "I never wanted any of this. I never wanted you two to destroy each other." Her husband looked at her with an expression that carried both pain and relief. "Neither did I." Jordan lowered his weapon, breathing out heavily. "We should call the police, the fire department, someone." But before Veronica could agree, a deep metallic groan came from the basement. Then a scream. Raw. Piercing. Unmistakably human. The hooded brother. Veronica froze. Jordan stepped in front of her. The living brother turned pale. "He's alive," he whispered. They waited, breathless. Another scream followed, this one not of pain but fury. "You can't take her from me." Jordan shouted down the stairs. "Stay back, don't come up." But the hooded brother didn't answer with words. Instead, they heard rapid footsteps, furious, staggering but fast, charging up the staircase. Jordan grabbed Veronica. "Run." The living brother stepped between them and the stairs. "Go, I'll stop him." But Veronica refused. "No, I won't leave you again." The brother pushed her back gently. "You have to live, Veronica. You deserve peace." Jordan pulled her toward the hallway, but before they could escape, the hooded brother burst through the smoke, blood dripping down the side of his face, eyes wild with obsession. He lunged at Veronica. Jordan tackled him instantly. They crashed into the side table, shattering a decorative lamp. Jordan struggled to keep him pinned, but the hooded brother fought like a man possessed, strong, desperate, willing to tear through anyone in his way. The living brother grabbed his sibling and yanked him off Jordan. "Stop, this ends now." The hooded man elbowed him hard in the ribs, sending him crashing into the wall. He then spun toward Veronica, reaching out like a predator closing in on prey. "Veronica," Jordan shouted. But the hooded brother was already inches away from her. His hand reached for her face, not gently but as if claiming ownership. "You were always mine," he whispered. Veronica backed away, shaking violently. "No, I don't belong to you." You belonged to me before you belonged to him, the hooded man snarled. You should have been my wife. You chose the wrong brother. I never chose you, she said, voice rising with fear and heartbreak. I never loved you. I never even knew you. Those words hit him like a blade. His eyes widened, then hardened with rage. I'll make you love me, he snapped. Jordan tackled him again from behind, dragging him to the floor. They struggled violently, rolling across the marble tiles. Jordan's arms strained as the hooded man tried to choke him. The living brother staggered to his feet and rushed to help, pulling his brother off Jordan and pinning him against the wall. They shoved, punched, gasped for breath, years of bitterness exploding into the fight. Why, the living brother shouted, why did you destroy everything? The hooded man spat blood, smirking viciously. Because everything you had should have been mine. The living brother punched him again. You had choices. You could have made something of your life. I wanted her, the hooded man screamed. I wanted Veronica. Suddenly, he drove his shoulder into his brother's chest, knocking him to the floor. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a jagged metal shard from the basement explosion. He raised it toward Veronica. Jordan and the living brother both screamed, Veronica, run. But she didn't run. She stood her ground. No more, she said, voice shaking but loud. I'm done being afraid of you. The hooded man froze, confused. Veronica took a shaky step forward. You hurt him, you hurt me. And for what? A fantasy, an obsession. You don't love me, you don't even know what love is. The hooded man's eyes flickered with something. Confusion, pain, maybe something broken. Jordan took the opportunity. He tackled him again. The metal shard slipped from the hooded man's hand and clattered across the floor. Jordan pinned him down with all his strength, but the hooded brother fought back ferociously. The living brother pushed himself up and joined Jordan, both holding him down. Stop fighting, the living brother shouted. It's over. The hooded man thrashed violently. Let me go, she's mine. Jordan held him by the shoulders, while the brother grabbed his arms. Finally, after a long, brutal struggle, the hooded man's body weakened. His breath slowed. His limbs softened. He stopped fighting. He lay still. Exhausted. Broken. Defeated. The living brother looked at him, tears slipping down his bruised cheeks. Why did you hate me so much? The hooded man whispered, voice cracking. Because father loved you, and she loved you, and no one ever loved me. Silence fell. Jordan slowly released him. The living brother did too, staring at his broken sibling in shock. The hooded man didn't fight anymore. Police sirens echoed faintly outside. Veronica sank to her knees, sobbing softly. Jordan rushed to her, pulling her into his arms. It's over, he whispered. You're safe now. The living brother called out with what strength he had left. Over here. We're in here. Within moments, officers burst into the mansion. The hooded brother was restrained and taken into custody, still muttering Veronica's name as if clinging to the last threads of his madness. Paramedics helped the living brother to his feet. Jordan held Veronica tightly as she trembled in his arms. Outside, as they stepped into the cold night air, Veronica looked up at Jordan, her makeup ruined, her face bare, revealing every line, every wrinkle, every truth she had once tried to hide. Jordan, she whispered, I'm sorry you saw me like this. Jordan gently cupped her face. This is the woman I married, he said softly. This is the woman I love, no makeup, no pretending, just you. Her tears fell again, but this time they were different. Not grief, not fear, but release. The living brother was stretchered past them. He stopped the paramedics with a gesture and looked at Veronica. I'm sorry, he said quietly, for everything, for the pain, for the secrets, for being too broken to love you properly. Veronica stepped forward and touched his arm gently. You were hurt, not unlovable. I forgive you." He nodded, tears gathering in his eyes, then allowed the paramedics to carry him into the ambulance. Jordan wrapped his arm around Veronica's shoulders. The chaos was behind them. The madness was over. For the first time in years, Veronica breathed freely. Jordan whispered, "Come home with me." She leaned against him, closing her eyes. "I am home." And together they walked toward the dawn.